Shanti sister, how are you?
Om Shanti, brother. Fine. How are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm fine, sister. Today we are going to see the fourth chapter, which is titled Women from Quran. Uh, we are going to read from 43rd verse. This is very important verse because this says when you need to pray, when you should not pray. So read that, sister.
Oh, you who believe, do not approach the prayer while you are drunk, so that you know what you say, nor after sexual orgasm, unless you are traveling until you have bathed. If you are sick or traveling, or one of you comes from the toilet, or you have had intercourse with women and cannot find water, find clean sand and wipe your faces and your hands with it. God is pardoning and forgiving.
Okay. So here it is mentioned that you should not pray while you are drunk. So actually, drinking alcohol is haram. That is, it's forbidden in Islam. So I don't know why they have included it here. Um, I believe it's forbidden. Drinking is forbidden, haram there. Mm, or else there's no need to include this because they are saying this for Muslims. That is those who believe in Muhammad. So, and you should be fully conscious. You should know what you are saying. That is, you shouldn't pray in the sleepy state or after taking full meals. You will be somewhat unconscious. So, you shouldn't do that. That's one of the reasons people, Muslims, they clean their bowels before doing prayer. Only then they will feel fresh. Uh, and not after sexual orgasm. So it's not actually, uh, they have separately mentioned about having sexual intercourse with women or men. So it seems it's given only for men because, or else they should say intercourse with men or women. But anyway, so after sexual orgasm, in the sense, uh, any kind of sexual activities, if they involve in that, they should not pray, which means sex is considered sin. If it is uh, allowed by God, then why should they not allow praying after having sexual orgasm or after having sexual intercourse? So, um, unless you are traveling, so I don't know why they allow, because if they are having, um, they have to travel for weeks or months. So if they have sexual orgasm during sleep in by having wet dreams, they're not supposed to pray. But if they are in the travel, they cannot afford to take bath, then they can pray. That's an exception. And if you're sick or traveling, or one of you comes from the toilet, so you should not pray without cleaning yourself. That is without taking bath. So actually, Muslims they don't follow taking bath after toilet, but they just clean themselves. That's it. Not taking baths. Um, or you have intercourse with women. So even then, only after taking bath, you are allowed to do prayer, uh, which is same as Hinduism. Even in Hinduism, it's like that. And if you cannot find water, because it's basically the religion that has its origin in the desert. So if you don't find water, clean your face and hand with clean sand. I don't know how that's going to clean you. Um, we have no idea because we have never been in a desert. I don't know if it has the power to clean you like water. Of course, they give first preference to water. If there is no water, then they use sand. Actually, it will cause dust on our vessels. So that's why they have said clean sand. I don't know whether there is any sand that cannot produce dust on us. Maybe there is something like that. I don't know. I have no idea. So God is pardoning and forgiving. Actually, in another translation, it is mentioned God uh, is forgiving and very patient. So this is what Quran says. But in Brahma Kumaris, where God Himself comes, because the religions are created by religious founders, Christianity by Jesus Christ, Islam by Muhammad, Buddhism by Buddha, they are created by humans. But God Himself comes in the end because only God has His own knowledge, as mentioned in Quran. He comes in the end and he gives the knowledge that this was heaven in the beginning and it is hell now. It's just a 5,000 year time cycle, half of which was heaven, and the last half is hell where we live now. The good news is it's going to be heaven pretty soon because God comes 100 years before the destruction of this world. And he says, you need to consider yourselves to be soul and remember God as a point of light. So it is the soul that sees through the eyes, speaks through the mouth, performs all actions using the body. So while in heaven, we were fully soul conscious. That's the reason there is no trace of lust, anger, greed, attachment, or ego while we were in heaven. That's the reason the residents of heaven were worshipped as deities till now by Hindus because they were equally pure like God, but they are not God. Where have they all gone? After taking several rebirths, they enter this world becomes hell. Then they their mind gets corrupted with lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego because they become body conscious instead of soul conscious. So that's why, under the influence of these five vices, they commit many sins, because of which they are punished in the form of diseases, natural calamities, conflict within family members, then conflict between nations. Finally, the world will be destroyed. But before that, God comes and reveals the secret. Even though the world gets destroyed, you won't be destroyed because you are not this perishable body, but you are an imperishable soul. But it is sinful now. It is filled with vicious thoughts that's carried from our past birth. You have to purify that by being in remembrance of God, who is also a point of light in the golden red colored light world. This God is called Allah by Muslims, Heavenly Godfather by Christians, God Shiva by Hindus. In Hinduism, we worship God as Shivling, which is a form of light. To worship, they have created a large form, but it's a tiny point of light, just like us. Invisible, totally invisible. So, when should we remember God? Because the message of God is you have to consider yourself to be soul and remember God as a point of light as much as possible so that you can conquer lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. Thereby, you are eligible to enter heaven. But we have been sinning for the past 2500 years. To destroy all the sins, you have to remember God every second as much as possible. No matter what you do, you can remember God. Whether you go to toilet, whether you are traveling, speaking, eating, whatever. And regarding having sex, sex is strictly forbidden in Brahma Kumaris. Because in heaven, nobody will have sex, nobody will have any knowledge about sex. They were as pure as the newborn child. That's why Jesus said, without becoming pure like children, you cannot enter heaven. So it's not the question of remembering God during sex. It's actually sex is totally removed from the life of a Brahma Kumari. So God enters an old man. His name is called Brahma by God, and that Brahma is called Adam in Quran and Bible. He is not the first man, but he is the one into whom God enters and purifies. So he is the first one to get purified and claim the highest status in heaven. So God is forgiving because everybody is a sinner now. So that's why he gives this knowledge. It is by adopting this knowledge and transforming ourselves into divine being, uh, by getting rid of lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego totally from our mind, that we become eligible to enter heaven. So that's why he is called forgiving. And the reason he is called patientful, he has been giving this knowledge for the past 100 years. So that's why he is called patientful. Other than that, whether you are sick, whether you are in the deathbed, still you can remember God till your last breath. Okay, sister. And read the 44th verse.
Have you not considered those who were given a share of the book, they by error, and wish you would lost the way?
Lose the way. So, share of the knowledge. So, everybody takes knowledge in the end, and not everybody will enter heaven because you have to purify yourself. You will have no time if you take this knowledge only in the end. All religious founders will take knowledge in the end, and when their corresponding religion comes, only then they will come and give this knowledge, which is going to be part of God's knowledge, not fully. They can't remember fully, and it will be mixed with human knowledge, 99% human knowledge plus 1% God's knowledge. So when you see them, they are buying error or sins. So they also want you to commit sin. So be aware of them and read the 45th verse, sister. It's muted.
But God knows your enemies best. God is sufficient as a protector. God is sufficient as a supporter.
Yes. So our enemies are not humans or any religions. It is lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. These five vices are our enemies. We have to conquer. So for that, uh, especially attachment to religion, to family members, is also sin. Because of that, we get influenced and commit sin. So we have to come out of it, but we will have to do our duty, but without attachment. You have to detach yourself. So just attach only to God, nobody else, because God is enough for us to protect us when we need it, when we need. But humans, we can't believe them. They can change their mind anytime. So God is sufficient for all of us. So this is the knowledge. To get the whole knowledge, rush to the nearest Brahmakumari center where you will find the direct knowledge of God absolutely free of cost in the form of Murli. You can Google it yourself as Brahmakumari's Murli. Thanks for watching. Om Shanti, sister. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Om Shanti.